Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Been trying to go live. Facebook's, YouTube's got issues. So, I'm just gonna make a video. Had a couple of things I want to talk to you about anyway. Let's see if it's gonna work enough to bring up my comments. No, it ain't. Dadgummit. Alright, luckily I got a memory like a steel trap. It clamps shut and nothing can get in. Out, that's what it was. Nana girl, she had, requested that video about women getting into trucking. Well, she didn't request a video, she requested information. Get one of them old people things right here. Drive me nuts. One of them blemishes under the skin thing. And I made that video and she's commented a couple of times. I do want to touch base if she watches this. She said her urgency was because she had several company schools that was wanting her to go to their school. Well, if you can get financial backing, all of them want you to go to their school. You need to not only critique the school on how much, how long, and all that good stuff. Where's it at compared to you, and you know, where you going to stay at, meals being covered and all that. Well, you also need to talk to your prospective companies and find out who's going to help pay for that school and how they're going to do it. So, and there's a couple of them that's got some interesting stuff. Stone was telling me about what CRST has got. That sounded quite interesting. I think it was like 10 months and it was paid off, something like that. Wow, really? So it's a little bit more than just jumping on board with one of them schools that's wanting to teach you. They all want to teach you, and if you qualify for Pell Grants or whatever they're trying to set up, then yeah, buddy, they really want you. So dig a little deeper before you make up your mind. I had someone else, well, matter of fact, let me swap them to a round. I had somebody that had made a comment when I did the running on recaps video. And he got going on and was talking out of the left side of his face and didn't have a clue what he was talking about. So I got thinking about that today in another comment on recaps. Folks, you got to be real careful where you're getting your information from. You really do. This person, he watched the recap deal, and his first thing was, and you're just now contacting your dispatcher? You shouldn't have took that load. You should have knew before you took the load you didn't have the hours to run it. And I was trying to tell him, dude, you can't compare your job to my job. You don't know how my job works. We know how my job works. Me and my dispatcher does. And he just kept going on. And me telling him, you know, we didn't know how many hours I'd have available out here. Oh, well, 15 minutes a drop, blah, blah. The dude was talking nonsense. First off, me and my dispatcher, my company don't play around. We truck. Period. We truck. This ain't no mega company that has 1 million extra trailers and all that. We know trucking and we go trucking. This is a hybrid between old school trucking and modern day trucking. We're trying to find that line right there, that balance between them all. So our company knows when they go sending this out approximately how we're going to do on it. They know their job, and they expect us to do our job. So if you're doing your job, your company can second guess pretty damn close to when you're going to get emptying stuff. This company does that. What that individual wasn't realizing was that it was a weekend, which I think I mentioned in the recaps. And my company is like, take the load and go. We'll see what you got left when you get there, and then we'll come up with another plan. That's common practice over here. We haul dedicated freight that's got to go. So they want us to grab it and go. We'll deal with the fallout as we have to deal with the fallout. And this individual doesn't realize this, didn't ask, didn't care, because he knew how his company operated, and all companies should operate like his. It don't work that way, boys and girls. Every company, especially when you're into these little companies like this, they have their own way of doing stuff, and you have to be able to adapt over to it. His nonsense about 15-minute drops. Oh, well, every drop should be 15 minutes unless you're just staying on duty. Really? How do you come up with them numbers? Because his company requires him to do a 15-minute on duty at every customer. My company don't require that. They don't require that at all. So once again, I was trying to tell him, don't judge my company by your company. But he was just steadfast. And that's what y'all have to worry about. Getting hold of somebody that thinks they know. He knows just enough to be dangerous. He's what we call a 2-year wonder. He's been out here in the trucking industry for 2 years, and he thinks he knows everything, and he ain't got a clue about anything. And we all wonder how trucking ever got along without him being in it. We wonder if he's going to be able to straighten out all the problems in trucking, and he probably thinks he can. Wrong answer. Now the third one I want to talk about, another individual, he made a comment on recaps, and he said that you could run 2.5, 3 weeks off recaps before you go home, and that you should be okay. Well, that's true. Actually, you can run recaps indefinitely. You don't ever have to stop running your recaps if you do it right. But to do it right and do it the way he's talking about, you're talking about working, driving, approximately 8 hours a day. Wow, really? Can you believe that? I've been thinking about it all day, and I was wanting to do the math because I've always just did it in my head and didn't think about it. We're allowed 70 hours divided by 8 days, because you're only allowed to work 70 hours in 8 days. So that's divided by 8. That gives you 8.75 hours a day. 8 3/4. 8 hours and 45 minutes a day before you run out of hours. Now you got to have your pre-trip, your post-trip, your fuel, and whatever else your company wants you to use. We're going to say that takes up to 75 minutes. I mean the 45 minutes of 0.75. So that leaves you 8 hours. Now, your truck, you're going to do good with whatever company you come out with a rare exception. You're going to do good to average 60 miles an hour. So 8 times 60 is 480 miles a day. I don't know what the average starting pay is anymore, but I'll be generous and let's say 40 cents, and I doubt if you're going to get 40 cents. So 480 times 0.40, that's $192. To me, that's chump change. That's nothing. Nothing at all. Now you're going to do that for 8 days. Oh, let me back up here. Let me do it equal. I don't want that. I don't want this thing to go stupid on me. So that's times 8. That gives you $1,536. Sound like big bucks, don't it? All right, let's do that. I don't know what you're going to pay in your taxes and all that. So let's divide that by 4. So 384. Let's just back that up. Minus, we're going to just say 400, okay? That leaves you $1,135. $36 actually. Still sound like big bucks, ain't it? What's it going to cost you to live out here? I guarantee you it's going to cost you at least $200 a week. It's going over this 8 days that we're doing the math on here. It's going to cost you at least $300 until you learn how to work the system. And in the beginning, it might cost you more. So now let's take that $300 off of there. Now you're down to $836. You barely made $100 a day. What are you making where you're at? If you get if you're in one of these $15 an hour states, minimum is $15 an hour. So let's do 15 times 8. That's $120. Now that's what you'll make if you run a recap all the time. The same money that you would make at some McDonald's. Now you're away from your family. You're in this prison cell. Is it worth it? Really, is it worth it? Now today, I used 10 hours and 45 minutes of my 11. Now I'm a special exception because I go home every weekend. Chances are you're not going to have that advantage where you're at or where you start at. But let's say I average 10 hours a day. We're going to use the same 60 miles an hour times 10. That gives us 600 miles times, we're going to use same pay times 0.40 equals $240 a day. So that was, what was that first one that we did? That was, let me back up. That would have been 8 times 60, 480. So 140 miles more. So let's do 140 times 0.40. You made an extra $56 a day. That $56 can cover your food for the day. Now, yes, you will run out of hours. If you have a good dispatcher and a good company that you two work well together, like where I was talking about recaps, you can plot and plan where you're going to do your 34-hour restart. And during that time, You can do your laundry, go shopping, relax, catch up on the TV, do lots of phone calls, whatever you want to do. If you're only running that 9 hours a day, 8 hours driving and then the other nonsense, and say you burn up an hour, so if you're only working the 10 hours a day, now you got 14 hours to kill just sitting in this prison cell. No thank you. That ain't me. I'm out here for the financing, not the romancing. I got to rock and roll. I got to go. I would much rather use up damn near all my 14 hours and have a 10-hour break and do that consistently for 5 or 6 days and then take my 34. Yes, taking a 34 on the highway sucks. Big time. But I'd rather be rolling and making the better money and getting a reset. And now after that reset, I can take off and run again. Just like I did last week. Hammer down. I can't justify in my head only driving 8 hours a day and making $100. I can't justify it. If I'm going to do that little bit of work, if I want a 9 to 5, I'll stay at home. That's where you hear us saying that this is a lifestyle. You have to learn how to work it. You've got to learn that computer, that ELD. You have to learn how to manage your hours. And you got to go trucking. Like, once again, if you're with a good company, they'll work with you. That's how our company is. So where that old boy was running that lip, he didn't have a clue. Our company knows what we're doing. They know what we need to do. You call them up, and when he's giving you the load, yo, dude, I ain't gonna be able to kick this off. Yeah, I know it. Just get as close as you can, and then we'll deal with it Monday. Call me Monday morning. We'll see where you're at and what we got to do. We don't have a whole lot of extra trailers and loads sitting around. That plant puts out a certain amount of loads, and we have a certain amount of truck drivers that's got to go. So we already know it. The point of it all is, there are so many, and this is nothing new. I ain't going to blame it on the new drivers coming out. It's been like this forever out here. You have drivers that think they know everything, and they get running that lip and trying to tell you. And they ain't got a clue about you. They ain't got a clue about your company. They ain't got a clue about your load. The only thing they know about is themselves, and sometimes I wonder if they know about them. So you need to be extremely careful where you get your information from. If you want to come out here and drive 8 hours a day, by all means do it. We have several double dippers out here that can only make X amount of dollars. And that's what they do. You know, some of them companies, another downside of just running that 8 hours, a good dispatcher is going to get to know how his drivers run. And he's going to dispatch you accordingly. So if you're only running 8 hours a day, he's only going to dispatch you on 6 hours a day. You're going to get the long, drawn out loads because you ain't got no hustle in you. The ones that got the hustle in them, they're going to be pre-tripped, pre-planned. You're going to get there and they're going to have another load for you and move you. And when you start getting short on hours, you let them know, yo, dude, you watching my hours? Yeah, I got you. I figured you would do this, this, and this, and and then we'd get you a 34-hour restart at the yard or in California or whatever. So just remember, there's a lot of truck drivers out here that are overly impressed with themselves, and they think they've got it all figured out. And to be quite honest with you, they ain't got a clue. They ain't got a clue one. I just showed you how to make extra $400, $56. You know, okay, call it $300. You know, times 6 days. Now, you just made that extra $300. Can you afford to sit still for 34 hours to get a fresh 70 to take off again? Or do you want to do that humdrum 8 hours a day? Folks, that would drive me nuts. I could not do just 8 hours a day out here. This log, what we're doing now, has its moments of driving me nuts. You have to learn how to manage your time. You have to learn how to use that system. Work it. Use it against them. Use it to your benefit. Use your noggin a little bit. Think and pre-plan and figure stuff out in advance. That's all I got to say about that. Y'all remember, good Lord loves you. So do I. I think I'll try to do another live stream. I don't know if I have any luck or not. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.